Hi, this is Masenya of Masenya Attorneys Incorporated, a law firm based in Centurion, Republic of South Africa. We boast 24 years of legal practice in the areas of commercial and tax laws. My professional team and I have over the years proved great success in assisting numerous clients with a myriad of commercial and tax matters involving millions of rands. We are skilled, experienced, qualified, and have the capacity to assist you. Email us at clients@cntlaw.co.za or call us 011-318-6592 or 084-383-7747. All consultations are strictly by appointment.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is Solomon Stemple. I'm Uncle Solomon. Great to be with you today. Hope you're doing well. Please make sure you comment using the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and how you are doing. So thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe also to the YouTube channel, Solomon Stemple. I would appreciate if you do that. Good evening to you also, Bongani. He says, good evening, Uncle Sol and every Berean. Everyone who's on this platform that is devoted to this platform, you're what we call a Berean. You're like the Berean Christian. You don't just take what you hear a pastor, a prophet, bishop, or apostle say just on face value. You try to dig deep, look at scriptures. Does it go in line with scriptures or not? That's what we do here, right? So thank you so much for joining us. Recently, there's been quite a lot of attention to the suffering, if I may call it, the persecuted church in Nigeria, or the suffering church in Nigeria. There's a part of the communities of Christians in Nigeria, especially where I come from, which is Plateau State in Nigeria. A lot of the communities outside in the outskirts of the city and villages have been attacked. And the attack is not by other Christians. The attack is by, terrorists terrorists who are being promoted or supported by Islam, to be honest with you. We've seen that over and over. And that's not to say every Muslim supports them or agrees with them. No, far from it. I have Muslim friends who do not agree with that. But a lot of damage has been done. People have lost their lives. Villages have been evacuated. Kids, children, been, killed. Women, men, mass grave of so many different attacks. It's all over. And it's been happening in Plateau State, in part of Kaduna State, a lot of southern Kaduna, if you know Nigeria very well, So a lot of it is up in the middle of Nigeria, where Islam actually comes in contact with Christianity. So it's easy for her to have those sort of attacks around there. Now, this has been happening for so many years, but the government have done little or nothing about it. We all know about the popular Boko Haram and all of that, right? So just to bring it, fast forward to today, fast forward to this week or last week, when President Donald Trump came out and said, look, he's told his leaders to get ready, that if this continues, he's going to send in a military attack into Nigeria to help Christians, to attack this Muslim, so-called Islamic terrorist, right? Let's look at what he actually said based on his words so we can quote him right. So this is what he said. And he posted this on his handle, on Truth, what do you call it again? The social media handle he uses a lot. You remember, he doesn't use Twitter, X, as much as he used to, since he was kicked out before Elon Musk bought Twitter. So he says, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killings of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. That's one. and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns ablazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist Turks attacked our cherished Christians. Warning: the Nigerian government better move fast. So, you can see all of that, right? And you have to evaluate what he is actually saying, because there's a lot that he's saying there. He said, look, first, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killings of Christians, this is what is going to happen. So he's putting the whole responsibilities in the hands of the Nigerian government. Because every month you will get 2 or 3 different, what they call genocide now, attacks and killings of Christians. Yeah, some of these guys also kill Muslims. We know that. But to be honest with you, there's more Christians have been killed much more than any other religion in Nigeria. And that's the fact. I come from that area. I come from that zone. So he's telling the government, who have been very inconsistent. Matter of fact, I must tell you that Nigeria in itself is a failed state. Nigeria has every attributes of a failed state. Nigeria is not a functioning country. We must understand that. Nigeria has been a failed state for over 20 years now. Almost nothing works. Things only work for those who are elite, rich, politically connected. Pastors, a lot of them, contributed to the failed state of the current Nigerian nation. That's what it is. So the church has been a contributor to making Nigeria a failed state. And because Nigeria is a failed state, we've seen all of this Islamic terrorists. We've seen kidnappers kidnapping people and asking for ransom. It's a failed state. So here, President Trump is telling them, no, you need to do something about it. Because to be honest with you, it's become so normal when, some of these terrorists invade a village and kill 20 people, 30 people, 40 people. It's become so normal that we don't even pay attention to it at all. We don't even talk about it. It's become so normal. So people have been crying. Blood has been shed. So what is the Nigerian government going to do about it? Because if they don't, this is what's going to happen. Number one, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. So any sort of aid, assistance, cut off. And Nigeria, where Nigeria is right now, Nigeria needs that kind of collaboration with some of the North American countries and European countries, not just Asian countries like China or Japan or Korea. And he said, and we may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns blazing, to completely wipe out Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to be ready. And I feel, I wouldn't endorse an invasion of any country or an attack on any country by another country's military. I wouldn't really endorse that. But you see, because normally when they attack, we've seen the USA attack Afghanistan, and the state of Afghanistan now is it's like a failed state, collapse. Look at Iraq. The USA invaded Saddam Hussein. They're still trying to come back. They're still a failed state. Look at Somalia. Recently, look at Libya. Got attacked, took Gaddafi off. And look at where Libya is divided today. They have 2 rulers, 2 countries. And don't get me wrong, I know the United States, when they invade a country, they have it's much more than just trying to help Christians. Guys, we know that. They have their own agenda. And the agenda is probably about, what do we get of them? Mainly about wealth. Nigeria just to update you, Nigeria currently right now have discovered the purest gold mineral in the world in the northern part of Nigeria. the purest gold in the world. And there's a lot of other resources like uranium, we can make nuclear weapons with it that have been discovered in Nigeria. So is the US trying to target that? I know. Maybe. But you see, the fact is, for me, if the US attack Nigeria and invade Nigeria and they take whatever they want to take, it's the same thing we're experiencing right now. Because whether the US attacked or not, we're still going to lose these minerals. Because if the US does not attack, these minerals and these rich resources will go into the hands of the so-called corrupt and criminal-minded politicians and business people. And that has been happening in Nigeria for over 40 years now, where these elites, these so-called criminals in suits and driving, in convoys have been, taken away from the country. So whether the US attack or not attack, we're still going to lose. We can't say we're trying to protect our resources because our resources is taken by a few anyway. By the way, I had that Boko Haram, some of the guys, the terrorists who are in Nigeria, they're beginning to look for ways to get out of the country since the pronouncement by President Trump. And they're trying to cross over the borders of Nigeria into Niger and into Chad. And Chadians are trying to cover their borders because they don't want these guys coming. And to be honest with you, a lot of these terrorists who come into Nigeria, a lot of them are mercenaries. They were hired from other countries. So the government is not doing their job because Nigeria is a failed state and no one is ready to fix it. So it will continue to be a failed state. And the Christians and our faith, where I come from, I know people who've been affected by that because a lot of that happened in the communities where I come from. Whenever I go home to Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria, my mom will tell me, make sure you don't go to the certain part of the city because that's a Muslim area. But you see, whilst I was growing up in the 90s, there was no no-go area. I go anywhere. But my mom was like, be careful, don't go to this side of the city. That's how divided the city has become. A city I grew up in with very fond memories, not the sort of reality that is there today. And the church has been invaded. Anywhere some of these terrorists go into, they kill people and burn the church down. How many mosques have you had that has been, I know Muslims lost their lives, but have you had anybody burning down a mosque? And to be honest with you, the church and its leadership actually is in cahoot with the government. Because the church is doing nothing. Platforms like the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, they're doing nothing around this. So now you take a foreign government to come and try to be a savior. And by the way, I do not agree with Donald Trump in a lot of ways. Matter of fact, he's not my kind of leader. I'm not one of those guys that advocate, Trump, everything Trump. No. When I examine Trump, I'll look at the decisions he's making that are right and the decisions that he's making that's not right. And he's not the kind of leader that I would love to follow. No. Because he's not the ideal leader for me. For me, he's like an emperor. That's just the way that it is. Now, we need to continue to pray for Nigeria, but we need to also think deep. People ask me, I think Vaughn is saying, I asked, where is the true church in Nigeria? Where are these shattering, money-grabbing merchants, peddlers of a false gospel? I feel sorry for the small handful who are paying the price for abuse. I am sorry to bust your bubble, and I tell people that over and over again. There is no church in Nigeria. There is what? No church in Nigeria. Forget about the 100,000 capacity auditoriums and temples they built. Forget about the big stadium meetings where you see tens of thousands, or a meeting, a revival where you see 200, 500,000 people. It's not an indication of the presence of the church in Nigeria. If you want to know there's no church in Nigeria, just look at the state, the social state of Nigeria, the economical state of Nigeria, the political state of Nigeria. It is clear that the church in Nigeria is dead. The only functional church in Nigeria is very, very little, and they cannot influence. Don't think because Nigerians go to church a lot and they talk about God and we have some of the best popular gospel singers and gospel music. It's not an indication, guys, of a church that is alive. It is not. So we must not get this twisted. And the church has been a contributor of the current state of Nigeria. So Trump wants to invade Nigeria, go in. If not, the Nigerian government, this is the wake-up call. This is the time to wake up. The military is so corrupt that anytime you get military softwares for them or you give them a budget and monies for millions and billions for certain projects, the military officers, pocket half of the money or so into their pocket. So everyone, I told you, Nigeria is a failed state. It is a failed state. I wouldn't want to say it's beyond repair because only God knows that. But the damage that country, that nation called Nigeria, the damage has been the country has experienced is so severe that it would take another 1 or 2 generations to fix it. Those who have been benefiting from the corrupt state of Nigeria, from the failed state of Nigeria, do not care about anything. It's fine for them. But you see, people are being killed every single day. Women, children, men, Christians who love the Lord faithfully. They have no defense. No defense at all. So please, don't come around here and tell me that there's a church in Nigeria. There's no church in Nigeria. That's just the end of the story. There's no church in Nigeria. No church. There's none. That's why we're in where we are in now. It's as simple as that. If there's a church in Nigeria, maybe you've never been to Nigeria. Yeah? And when I say be to Nigeria, I'm not saying go sit down in the posh places. No, go to where the real people are. So if you'd have never been to Nigeria, I beg you, do not tell me there's a church in Nigeria because of YouTube videos you've watched and prophets and apostles you followed or gospel musicians you followed. Any nation that claims to be as Christian as Nigeria, with the way we talk about it, preach about it, dance about it, sing about it, that nation, even if the population of the Christians in Nigeria is just 15%, that nation, like Nigeria, would not be in the state that it is today. And I don't have any hesitation in inviting Donald Trump to attack Nigeria. Thank you, guys. God bless.